YouTube, what's going on? uh, Anybody alive out there? Did the virus get everybody? Am I the last man alive? That looks like it. It's me and the chickens. Oh, and the dogs. Obviously, everybody else has been completely. Oh no, Luna's alive. Joe Balls is alive. Dave Orr 8. All right, glad to see you guys have made it. Justin, representing England. My brother from the UK. What's going on? Mopar Dan Wrench. We're doing this, Rude Mopar, dude. We're doing this. Greetings to all my compatriots and Fubar. What's going on, brother man? Fubar the Axe. Mr. Foz. Greetings from Philly. Baron, what's going on, brother man? So, what's going on tonight? Anything good? What's up, Uncle Corona? I like that. My Corona. Right? You know what you're doing with the stimulus money? You're buying 2 satellites. Hey, there's worse things you can put your money in, man. So it's stimulating your garage. This is what I'm saying. Oh, what's going on, Zero? Oh, look, it's Uncle Kathy.
What's up,
From
guys?
the darkest recesses of the house. Come say hi. Come on, say hi. Look. Let's see. Life of, well, thank you, sir. Thank you. What's going on? I'm driving to Pomona. What's in Pomona now? Nothing's in Pomona now, right? I should do another cold start or exhaust video while quarantined. I mean, I guess it's you can't really do cold starts though. It's springtime here. You're there with your naked neck hen in Oregon. Nice. You need a barber. I've decided not to shave. I'm going. This is my protest. I was talking to Uncle Kathy before. She says, "You gotta fucking shave." And I'm like, "No, man. This is my protest. I'm not gonna shave until all illness has been wiped from the face of the earth." That includes animals and even like tree funguses and shit like that. Oh, I'm tired. Uncle Tony just chased the neighbor's pit bull up and down the road for 2 years after my male dog. Talk about a job. Woo. I can't pronounce that. You got a weird. I'm doing pretty good, bud. Okay, I'm trying to catch up here. You like the 65 Belvedere? Yes. Corona beard. Yes, this is my official Corona beard. I didn't realize how gray it was, man. Holy shit, I am old. I love that. Bottle Rocket is alive again. Well, she was never dead, just apart. I do still have a fluctuating oil pressure problem. I'm not crazy about. As soon as she goes high, man, it's so I got to dig into that and see what's going on. Oh, your real name is Dimitri. All right, Dimitri. Yeah, I don't know what language that is or anything, but nice to meet you, brother, man. What was this now? Hey, Tony, my manager at the shop always strips Mopars down to the frame and blasts it on a rotisserie and puts it back together looking pristine. What are my thoughts on that? I am grateful. I am truly, honestly grateful that there are people in the sport that do stuff like that, in the sport, the industry, the hobby, whatever you want to call it, right? I'm truly grateful that there are people who do stuff like that. I am not one of them. I love completely restored cars. I love pristine cars. I love rare cars, right? But none of those fit within my world. Does that make any sense? It's Russian. Are you actually in Russia, Dimitri? Dimitri, that was. Have you ever seen? Oh, I'm glad to have you, man. Have you ever seen Doctor Strangelove? Because the head of Russia, whatever they call him, the prime minister, his name was Dmitry, and for some reason, every time I hear that name, I think of that movie. Um, yeah, drivers, man, driver quality or race quality. Oh, you're in Canada? Cool. Did I watch the Freedom 500? I heard about it, but I didn't. I didn't see it. Luna, you want to rotisserie the black satellite at some point? Hey, man. Zero, man. That's right. You prod them along a little bit. Get those likes up. You actually seen that movie? Your father named me after him. See, Dimitri. Uncle Tony, will small block Mopar bolt up to slant six belt? No, no, it won't. Your bell housing has two starter locations. I'm not sure what that's about either. Best way to break in an engine? Hard. Break it in hard. Chicken, pets, or food? Yeah, pets or meat? That was another one. That was oh god, what was that fucking movie? It was the sequel to that. Did, Roger and Me, right? And then the sequel to that was called Pets and Meat, and it was that broad in Michigan that she has this bunny rabbit and she's petting the bunny rabbit, it's a pet, and says, oh, you want meat? And she just beats this fucking thing over the head. It's terrible, terrible. Pets or meat? Uh, I worked secretly for Amy Helm show, and she sang that song. I'm not sure which song you're talking about. Do a video on power shifting versus speed shifting. How to? Well, if I could get my fucking car to power shift, I would absolutely do that. I'm looking for another trans. It doesn't pay for me to dig into the one that's in there, so I've got my eyes open for another 833 OD for it. What's the highest compression you would recommend for on a slant six? I mean, it depends how serious you want to get with the engine, man. I couldn't pick a number, out of the air. What's the highest compression ratio? It's as high as you can tolerate it. In that respect, the Science 6 is no different than any other engine, and the biggest problem you're going to run into is sealing. You probably have to. I would imagine anything over like 12 and a half, 13 to 1, you might want to have to O-ring, use a copper gasket and a stainless O-ring to keep it sealed. Amy is Levon's daughter. She played at last. Oh, okay. Uh, UTG, sorry for asking, but my stepbrother said no more than 1,500 for both of the satellites. Does that sound low? I only saw the one satellite, the black one that I commented. I didn't see the other one, but no, I mean, 1,500 just for that one car, 2,000 for that one car would probably be, providing it doesn't break in half when they're pulling it out. Straight six fan, Tony. I hope you got the shirt. I sent you. You're the guy that sent the shirt. Thank you so much. Hang on one second. Let me go get that shirt. I'll grab back. Uncle Kathy must have put it away someplace. As soon as she comes, as soon as I see her, Kat. Oh, there you go. Hey, where's that Slate Six shirt the guy sent? She's in with the chickens. Where's that Slate 6 shirt the guy sent? He's on here now. Yes, I got it yesterday. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And Kathy's going to get it. We're going to show it off in a second. Nick's Garage. Nick's Garage is on here? Any tricks on pressing on lower control on bushings on a duster? Bro, I swear to God, right? I drop them off over body shop, the front end shop over there, and I let them press the bushings in and out for me. Life's too short. I can't deal with that. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, just put it down. So this came in the mail yesterday. There you go. 30 degrees is slant. So, Streets, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. If you sell these things, put a link. Well, feel free to put a link and promote, your stuff right here. And actually, that goes for any of you guys that sell stuff. You want to market things or whatever. I'm totally cool with you guys throwing links to your shit in the comments. I got pet cats. We got one cat. It's the only male that I allow in my world here. His name is DeSoto. Well, yeah, straight 16. I absolutely, I'll share it. So I like Vice Grip Garage. Derek is a good guy. I talked to him last week. Let's see. You can remove bushings with an air chisel. My life is too fucking short, man. I drop them off. Actually, you know what? I cheat. I parted out so many cars that when I came across one that had nice pins and good solid, lower control arm bushings, I put them on the side. So I've got like probably a dozen sets of them laying around here. They've already got good pins and everything in them. So when the lower control arm bushings take a shit, I just pop a good used one in. Can you port a carburetor to increase CFM? Yes, you actually can. There are ways to do it. There are ways to do it. But you can increase the carburetor CFM on like 75. You can pick up like 75 CFM on a carburetor by just some basic, massaging of it. I should check out the newest video of Vice Grip Garage. I did. I actually watched the preview before. You missed the cramps. Yeah. I was a drag racer on LSD, right? Actually, it's funny. I bought a car. It used to be called the Brewmaster in like 1968, 1969, and it was driven by this guy named Jimmy Messenger. Okay, and his thing, he was an acid head, right? His top fuel driver is like 19. There's a New York City guy, of course. It could only come from fucking New York City. 1967, 68, 69. Yeah, babe. They're fighting with one another. Okay, the chickens are fighting. Yeah. Why? Because they can't get up on their. Well, let them live. Let them deal with it. So he was an acid head, and his claim to fame was that he used to drive these cars fucking tripping, and like you just can't imagine, just how intense can you possibly want to get? You know what I'm saying? Front engine, top fuel dragster, nighttime at fucking Englishtown or New York National Speedway, right? Tripping balls. How intense can you possibly get, right? I salute this guy. Fucking salute you, Jimmy Messenger. Uncle Tony, love the way you help out other channels. Well, hey man, yeah, I mean, listen, we're all in this together, right? A rising tide raises all ships. You want nitrous tets hit some bottle rocket. We're ways away from that. I mean, I would like some nitrous test hits some bottle rocket also. I mean, right now, this very minute, I nitrous if I wanted it to. Do high lift fast ramp cams affect lifespan of the rest of the valve train for daily street engines? That's a good question. That's a good question. Um, I have to think about that. I would have to think about that. Offhand, I would say if you're not going crazy with RPM, if the valve springs aren't seeing a lot of heat, should be okay. You know, those chickens can be real jerks. Well, I had to make some modifications in there, and now they can't go in the place where they usually go. They like there's a 2x4 that runs across the top over there, and that's what they roost on that, right? I never even knew like this is what they do. They fucking roost. So we had to move some shit around. Now they can't get up there anymore. So they're having chicken wars, I guess, to see who gets the highest territory. ACC, what's going on, brother man? Granny's Garage, what's going on? How high and how often do I rev it up? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Do I know of a drag car back in the day called the Buccaneer out of Ohio? Um, Double A gas supercharged car? What's good, Mark Shaw? How's it going, brother man? Uh, Funny question. If John DeLorean could have held it together, which he couldn't, um, what do you think the DMC would have went? What's your thoughts? I don't, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it was a flash on the pan in its day. I don't think the basic concept had that much staying power. Budget. It basically was building budget exotics. You know, if they still do Power Tour and you go, would love to show you my family. If they do Power Tour and we do send it's going to be Lamb Chop. I'm going to send Lamb Chop along with Bottle Rocket. I won't actually be going myself. Who are the teams cheating with nitrous and early pro stock? Like all of them. Yeah, I work at Starbucks. I that's my job. That's my main job. I work second shift at Starbucks. What was I working on today? Just bouncing around a little bit. I didn't get too deeply involved in anything today. Um, Thank you, Husky, representing Australia. Why do they call an engine a stroker? I know it sounds like such a simple question, but I mean, if you don't know, you don't know. Um, when you increase the stroke of an engine, so let's just say, for instance, you go from a crank that has a 3.5 inch stroke, right, to a 4 inch stroke, you're increasing it at that half of an inch. That's called a stroker. Anytime you make the stroke or the distance from the crank pin, from the center line to the crank pin, anytime you increase that distance, you're making what's known as a stroker. Do I actually work at Starbucks? Can't tell if that was sarcasm. Figure it out, man. What would I recommend for a timing gear and chain for a daily stock 318? Just a nice single roller, you know, just a nice. Not, they'll all live. They'll all get you at about the same longevity. New guy that ran Top Fuel, normally aspirated Hemi, said he ran 120 degrees of ignition advance. No, he didn't run 120 degrees of ignition advance. uh, so what do we got here? You thought he was here. He probably never had Starbucks in his life. Actually, I had Starbucks was like the devil, right? Because I was in the coffee business for a few years, for like a dozen years, and so I had coffee houses. So like Starbucks was like the Antichrist, and I was like, oh, Starbucks, right? And then when I went out of business, I was like, you know what? I went out of business. They're still there. They won. That's it. So I've been drinking Starbucks ever since. Every morning I go. I get up like 5 o'clock in the morning. I go. I sit in the parking lot of the Starbucks. I drink my coffee. I smoke my cigarettes, and I figure out what I'm going to do for the day. Just about every single video you guys have seen was conceived in a Starbucks parking lot as the sun came up. Can't beat them, join them. Yeah, exactly. Amy Nora, do I have any old pics of you and Steve Collison from the 5 liter days? I do not, and Steve is one of the people I truly fucking miss. Uh, I've had lots of people die on me over the years, and I can count on like one hand the ones that I miss, and Collison is one of them. Coffee gives you kidney stones. That's terrible, man. Coffee is one of my major food groups. Coffee and Tang. Great video, rear shocks. Oh yeah, you like that one? Good, good. Yeah, actually, that video got some pretty good response. You saw the 5 liter videos. Excellent. Thank you, Fubar, for posting that link. Best Dodge motor I'd recommend to go fast. I'm always saying now depend. Now you have to define that, Dimitri. Go fast. I mean, like, how fast do you want to go? Do you want to go top fuel dragster fast? Build a Hemi. You want to go, cool, good streetcar, fun streetcar fast? Build a 440 or a 340 or a 318. Look at Bottle Rocket. Look what we did with the 318 and Bottle Rocket. And the engine and Bottle Rocket, I keep telling everybody, right? And it's the truth. It's stock bore, stock pistons, old rings, stock cylinder heads that are just hand ported. You know what I mean? It's all complete junkyard throwaway stuff. If you just massage it a little bit, that's how it runs. Are hybrids real cars? Even the exotic stuff is in there. Yes, hybrid. I mean, the whole concept of hybrids is nothing new, right? They were building hybrids. Well, I mean, some of the first earliest cars were hybrids. Diesel locomotives are hybrids. They've been hybrids since the 1930s. And even Opel had a production hybrid in 1969. So, based on the Cadet. So yeah, hybrids are cars. Electric cars are cars. They're all cars. They're just different flavors. Is it 340 with a 6-pack rare? Not necessarily, because Chrysler sold a lot of those intake setups over the counter. So while to find an original setup is a little bit rare, they sold the identical ones over the counter up until like 1981 or 1982. So they were like 10 years or so of people able to buy those things and put them on everything. Some of the first cars were electric. Yeah, it's true. .390 FE or 360 FE for the 1965 F100 for street toy, street and strip toy, street toy cruiser. I mean, I would go with the 390. Do the motorhome 440 have 6-pack rods? Yes. No, no, they don't. I'm sorry, they do not. The later ones, the earlier ones do, and you can tell just by looking at the damper real quick. How rare is the 340 Hemi from the late 60s? They never built a 340 Hemi. Oh, I think things froze up here. Oh, no, there it goes. Cult leader. Am I really a cult leader? I'm gonna make everybody drink the Tang, right? Forget the Kool-Aid. We're all gonna drink the Tang. Rich, creamy Tang. Uncle Kathy's avoiding this like. Nice beard. You like that, man? You like that? Joe Dart says Kathy. Carl Bowers from New Zealand. What's going on, brother man? Representing the upside down land. First rule of the cult is that there is no cult. That's right, Zero. Our 446-pack rod is actually Hemi rods. No, they're completely different. Does the RV block different from the car block? No, it does not. What's my favorite brand of hot dog? Sabret. I don't know what's in the Plymouth Satellite. Satellite Plus is a 2-barrel. So if I'm not mistaken, it's 318. Yeah, you get either a 318 or a 383 2-barrel. And the easiest way to tell if you're not familiar with them is that 318 is going to have the distributor in the back, and the 383 is going to have the distributor in the front on the passenger side. Uncle Kathy up to no good. She's sitting across from me right now. She snuck out.
I have a chicken problem.
Uncle Kathy's having a chicken problem.
I'm having a chicken problem right now.
When you have a chicken problem, we all have a chicken problem.
Yeah, okay.
Tell us what the chicken problem is.
I had to take that down because they were all attacking Vera. They got so mad.
Why were they attacking Vera?
Because they were so enraged that they couldn't get up on that roost anymore.
Yeah.
That they all decided to attack Vera. So she was getting her ass kicked. So I had to take the board down, and they're up there now, but they're all still huffy and pissy. So I have to figure out something new to do because they can't go attacking Vera.
Do you see the kind of problems I have to deal with now?
They were enraged.
Oh.
Maggie.
Mary Day. Hello, Mary Day. What's going on, sweetheart? Pecking party. Yeah, they were having a pecking party.
And they got infuriated and decided to take it out on the last girl.
Anna Mazzati wants to know what came first, the chicken or the egg?
I don't know.
You gotta know.
I don't know.
You know so much about chickens. Which came first?
I don't know that much about chickens. Oh. I should have known what was going to happen if we put a board up there, so they couldn't get up there. I need a cup of coffee.
How soon before we see a 273 build on the channel? I have a 273 in my 67 Dart, and I absolutely adore that engine. But maybe I have so many other projects to get through. We still got to get Bottle Rocket to the track when the track's finally reopened, and the Slant 6. I haven't touched the Slant 6 in like 2 months, so I got to get back on that. Eventually we'll get that. We'll get the 273 going. Oh, I'd like to do a big block before we do the 273. Was GM's 833 with overdrive as solid as Mopar's? Yeah, it's the same transmission. The one in Bottle Rocket came from a Chevy pickup truck. What's my opinion on diesel engines? I like diesels, but they're just not my thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, people are drawn to different types of setups and different types of engines and so on and so forth. And the diesel just doesn't do it for me. I love the torque they make, you know, but I need a pig now. Yeah, right? Like Arnold. I know. Yeah, I was telling Kathy that I want pigs and goats and shit. You tried the mozzarella in your beard and it didn't work. Oh man, I'm sorry. You must have some sort of fatal skin condition because there's no way it didn't work. Hey Tony, is it still okay to put a head gasket on even if the deck surface has remnants of copper spray on it? Yeah, you should be all right. A pig will fuck my yard up, I'm sure. Green Acres is my favorite show, brother man. Have you ever tried kicker traction shocks instead of traction bars? No. What do I think about a 65 Charger as far as getting parts for it? The B-Body Charger, as we know, it was introduced in '66. Top loaded transmission worth using on the 390? Yes. Wifey just made you baked taters. Well, Kathy just made me chicken cutlets. Hagel T, any idea about blow-by with good compression and no exhaust smoke? 425 olds. Blow-by with good compression and no exhaust. Just rings. Uncle Tony, how much did it cost you to put the battery in the trunk and bottle rocket? Oh fuck, I don't know. The plastic battery case. Hey, Lily, shut up. The plastic battery case was like 25 bucks, and then figure another 25 for wire. About $40-50. Oh, this is bad here. Maggie. She's not a wiener dog. She's a beagle. Straight six. Straight 6. Thank you so much for the shirt, brother man. I appreciate it. What tires do I prefer for my higher power builds? Anything I can get my hands on cheap. What's your opinion on a 98 to 03 Dakota RT? Good budget Mopar? Yes. Is it possible to weld new rocker rails on a unibody vehicle? Yes, absolutely. Fubar put a link for Lamb Chops. Lamb Chops, you know, he's got cancer. He's doing the best he can. He's working through it. And Fubar was just nice enough to put up a link to Lammy's GoFundMe page. So if every couple of hours they want to help out our buddy Lamb Chop, you know, it's much appreciated. Worst engine performance, 301 Pontiac or 4.3 olds? The 301 Pontiac was a slug. Terrible motor. Where can I find specs on Bill Grumpy Jenkins motors, or it was top secret? Jenkins was always developing engines, so there was never any point I would say that there was a set. You know what I mean? It was always in a state of evolution and flux. So I don't think you'd be able to find something like that. Did Mopar build an aluminum high-performance engine? No. Do I like Honda single-cam engines? Yes, I do. Can you get away with using smaller-sized dingle ball hone for cleaning up the cylinder? Kind of sloppy, right? No, I would use the right size one. James Fife, what's going on, brother man? Maggie, 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 come over here. Come here. Both of you. Maggie and Lily, they must smell something on the. John Wilburn, Grumpy's books can be found for around $50, and they were good books. You're looking to learn the basics of high performance engines, man. The Jenkins book and Smokey Unix books were just awesome. Cool vid earlier. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Would I rather weld on or bolt on a stock style clamshell motor mount? Probably bolt it on just so to make easier changes down the road if you want to. Cost to swap hardened valve seat on cast heads. You'd have to call around your machine shops. You're going to find prices all over the map. Do I feel my glasses are crooked? Is that better? Okay. Have I seen the righty muscle car vids? I have not. I took your advice and took the traction bars off my 71 Charger. They were on it when I bought it. Yes, slapper bars, traction bars, they don't. Remember, Chryslers have a asymmetrical leaf springs, meaning that the axle is not centered in the spring. The axle is in the forward third of the spring. And so you don't get that wrap like you do on Ford and General Motors cars that have a symmetrical spring, meaning the axle is mounted in the center of the spring. And that's why you need those slapper bars. But, completely pointless on a Chrysler. Datsun 240Z project. I am the best. I appreciate you saying so, brother. Hey, babe.
Yeah.
You got a cigarette? Oh, okay. Oh, wait, I got. Just picked up a huge Ed Daddy Roth banner. Nice. What's my take on cold engine piston slap? All of the best engines on earth have cold piston slap. Rachel Songbird, thank you so much, honey. Hey, I tried to find, as I said, that I would listen to your videos, and I couldn't. You didn't come up on a YouTube search. Bob Me, love the program. Is here similar histories? Engine machinist, builder. I was never a machinist. I've spent a lot of time making machinists angry. What do I feel about the Chevy 409? Neat engines, but they were hot in their day. They were a good piece in their day. Rachel, so probably not popular enough. We have to change that, Rachel. How do we make you even more popular? What do we got to do here, guys? Rachel over here she's a musician. People who checked out her channel the last time she was on came back saying, "Oh, you're great, you're awesome," right? They enjoyed her, they subbed. Do me a favor, right, guys? Go check out Rachel Songbird. Rachel, put a link to your channel. Put a link to your channel. Why is my story bar disconnected on the GMC Sierra? Gremlins got under there and disconnected it. Do I have any experience with engines outside of the internal combustion world? Anything unique? I don't. Favorite mopar of all time is going to have only one. What configuration would it be? That changes from hour to hour. I couldn't answer that. Thank you, Twisted Gnome. Jared, I'm glad I was of service to you, brother man. That's what we do this for. I'm gonna strangle Maggie. There's gonna be one less beagle on this fucking planet in a minute. Maggie! Maggie! Get over here. Get over here. You want a cookie? I lied to you. No cookie. Get in the fucking house. Get in the house. All right, don't get in the house. Maggie's being a good girl now. Yes, she is. One less beagle. Everyone a street demon carb. Is thermal quad not going? No, I got thermal quads. Amy, you can make your beagles yodel. Oh please. I had had one named Trixie. She died 2 years ago now, and she would sing all the time, constant. And we would go together, like we'd be driving on the road and stuff, and I would go, woo woo, and she would go, oh, 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 and we would go back and forth like for hours. We used to drive Uncle Kathy fucking crazy because she'd walk in the house and we'd be sitting on the couch going, oh, shush, that's Lily. That's why not build up an aluminum block Slant 6 versus one I'm building now? They're hard to come by, and when you do come by, they take a special head gasket. They're fragile, you know what I mean? And I don't want to deal with anything that's who adjusts the glasses. I got a glass adjustment. Okay, here we go. I got my Starbucks hot straight. Thoughts on the 71 and 72 Roadrunners over the 73 you have? The 71 and 72, especially the 72, is the sexiest fucking car ever built. Uncle Tony got an old 318. Make someone a great deal. Hate to see it go to the yard. Well, I mean, offer it up here. Tell the people where you're at and how much you want to get for it. Does a factory K head outflow a standard street Hemi head CFM wise? No. No, the K heads and the X heads have exactly the same ports. You don't start getting into any real port variations until you get to the D series heads, like the D3 to D4. I have a set of D4s inside actually. Manchester, Tennessee, make you an offer. So old Tom has a 318. He's down in Manchester, which is only about 30 miles from here, 40 miles from here, and he's got a 318. He wants you to make him an offer. Have you eaten a chicken yet? And what was it named? I can't eat my chickens. I raised them up. I held them on my fucking hands. They were little, I can't. I couldn't eat any of my chickens. I feel funny eating their eggs, to tell you the truth. And I don't eat eggs, but I put them in stuff. I can't believe somebody asked me this question. Uncle Tony, did you live far from mob boss Paul Castellano's house when he lived on Staten Island? I knew him as Uncle Paulie, and I was his pool boy when I was like 15 years old for the summer. My buddy Igor lived right across the street from him. Uncle Paulie on the hill. Where am I from? I'm originally from New York City. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee now. I've been here for 16 years. Great video today. Which comp did you put in? It's a custom grind, and if you go to the last Bottle Rocket video, there's the cam card there with all the specs. Soft-hearted farmer. I'm not a farmer. Please, are you kidding me? Have you used the 3.9 chain tensioner on LA engine? Heard it's a good upgrade. I mean, I know people have done it. I don't think it could hurt, but I don't add anything to a car. I take stuff off. I'm one of those people that reduces things. You know what I'm saying? So but I mean, I know people have done it, been doing it for years and years, and it works fine. Did I used to ride with Indian Larry? No, I did sell Indian Larry a bunch of Yamahas once. I had a whole stack of XS 650 stuff, and I sold it to Indian Larry. Did I have to get away from New York because of felonies? No, I had to get away from New York because the place it was in the toilet then, and it's even worse now. It's nowhere near the New York that I grew up in. When was the last time I had a street race? I mean, you mean like a real street race? I don't know. It's been a long time. How do I feel about single plane cams? You mean the single plane intakes? I prefer them. You met Indian Larry hours before he died. I only met him once or twice. He was a very cool fucking dude. Stoplight to stoplight? Oh, I don't know. Probably right before I put I started working on the swinger. I don't know, like December or January. James, thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. Any wedge in stories? That was before my time. You were born in the backseat of a 54 Custom Line. Nice. I hope they clean the upholstery, yeah? Do I like 50s music? No, I really don't. Do I know Bob Ferenci from Staten Island? It rings a bell. It rings a bell, but I'm not sure. Single plane as a cam such as a 220 228. Oh, well, that's such a broad question. I mean, if your duration numbers just happen to match, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing unusual about that, I should say. You're on your way out, Matt. Thank you, Donnie. I'll see you tomorrow. Uncle Tony, I just found a 66 Chrysler where it's a 440 putting it. Man, friend of mine is going to drag race. Maybe we'll get it for $1,500. I mean, they're heavy. They're heavy cars. You give some serious fucking horsepower to make one of those things run. Jalopy boys, I'm 14. I have a 53 Ford Custom Line and a hot flathead. Very nice. Excellent. Hang on. Let me. I love everything 50s. My uncle Bob is Bob Ferenci from Staten Island. My whole family grew up there. Oh, okay. Oh, hey, that's awesome. Nice. I was never into customs myself. I appreciate the craftsmanship involved, Jalopy. But I started watching Ian Russell's show. Have you ever seen this, Full Custom Garage? And he hooked me. So ever since I started watching that show, right, now I pay extra close attention to customs. Again, see, it's not the kind of thing I would do for myself, but I do appreciate other people doing it. What's going on Ward? What problems? What problems did you not expect when you were new to nitromethane racing? I had to relearn everything. I had to relearn everything. You know, it was frustrating and it was embarrassing for a good period of time when I first got started. When I was making that transition from helper to mechanic. I can't even begin to list all of the things that I had misconceptions about, or I had to relearn habits and methods and shit like that. It was a very intense experience, man. Almost got the Roadrunner up and running. Nice. Well, what are you doing on here, man? Go there and splice some wires. Get to it. Is it me, or do all-out exhaust systems drone at 2,000 RPM? It's probably you. What car do I kick myself in the ass for selling? None of them. If I've ever gotten rid of a car, I had a good reason to get rid of it. Who was my mentor with cars? I had no mentor. I had to learn all this shit on my own. G'day, Granddaughter Max. No import love. Why do you say I have no import love? Uncle Tony has love for all machines. What do I recommend getting parts for the body of the Plymouth satellite? You'll try searching on for bbodiesonly.com. They got a pretty good forum there, and you should. That's the first place I'd look. Did I ever meet Miss Hurst? Yes. I actually have a story about that, but I'm not going to tell that story. But Nikki Phillips was my favorite, though. Linda Vaughn, very nice person, beautiful girl, but Nikki Phillips was the one. Have I ever worked on a Mazda RX-7? Yes. Several of them back when I was a mechanic in New York in the 80s and the 90s. Hey, Maggie. She's just going tonight. What's my favorite import manufacturer? Probably Honda. If I was to actually get into I like the Subarus. I like the WRXs. But if I had to pick an overall, the Hondas. I like the Hondas. With all my 5.0 experience, why don't I swap that motor in the old cars? Because I like to keep. I don't like to crossbreed. I like to keep the engine in the family, of the body. You know what I'm saying? And I like to keep the era within the. You know what I mean? So to me, a 60s car should have a 60s motor. A 70s car should have a 70s motor. An 80s car should have an 80s motor. You know, but that's just. I don't have any problem with people swapping stuff around. That's what they do. I don't do that myself. Any street action in your neck of the woods? I don't know. We'll find out. Oh, here comes Kathy now. Uncle Kathy's come to lay the smackdown on Maggie.
Over here. Come on.
Give him a cookie. Give him a cookie.
Where's Lily? Where's Lily?
I don't know. She's probably camouflaging in with the fence. Love Full Custom Garage, right? The guy's amazing. Dude, Jalopy, I watch Ian Russell do his thing, right? And I feel like a crippled, like little girl. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm completely incapable of doing anything. The guy is just amazing. Ian Russell is a god among mechanics. He's just over the top. Now I don't know if he knows anything about engines or anything like that, but that what the way he can conceive stuff and build it freehand the way he does, just absolutely fucking mind boggling. And you can't appreciate what that guy does unless you've tried some of the similar things yourself, and then you get it. Bob Welch, tuning in from England, representing the UK, brother man. Cummins compounder, a big single turbo. Uh, my Ouija board is inside. I'll grab it out in a little while. And we'll see what the forces say about that. Let's see. Over's bus, SoCal, representing SoCal. We got a bunch of SoCal guys here now. When am I going to do a happy hour live chat? I don't know. What do you call this? Adam Wagner, and I appreciate you recognizing it, brother. Thank you. Ever race Big Willie in his Daytona? No, I was a little bit before my time. Utah in the house. What's my favorite power adder? Nitromethane. Jay, thank you so much. So I followed your suggestion of putting the pistons in backwards, and now when I put it in drive, I go in reverse. Hey, you got a unique ride now. Have you ever worked with Joel Oldman? I have no idea who that is. I have a raffle drawing for my 67 Charger. No, it's not for sale. Sean Irvine representing Pittsburgh. Of course. How you doing, Christina? Joe Oldman, yes. Joe Old. It's not Oldman. It's Oldham. Oldham. He's dead. He died a couple of years ago. Me and Joe were like this for a couple of years. But I was like 23 and he was like 45. So it was like and he had status in the industry and I was just a punk. But yeah, we were like this. We didn't get along. Brian McBangshift from Throne Wrench Garage has joined the chat. What oil brand do I use? Mostly Shell Rotella. Is it true that thermoquads came out in 1000 CFM? Yes. Do I know Steve Dolchik? No. Do you know any Wisconsin gearheads from the good old days? Yeah. From up there in Wisconsin, Neil Bisaglia, Brian Coleman. Oh God, there's a few other guys. Forgive me if I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I knew a bunch of Wisconsin guys. Hey Tony, is it possible to take the Dizzy out and dial it in from home on the bench? So you reckon you could do a show on outside? You can't accurately curve a distributor on the bench, but you can shorten the amount of advance, right? Which is a crucial part of it. You know what I mean? Shortening the amount of mechanical advance available, and putting lighter springs to get them to come in earlier. You know, so uh, Joe Oldham, he wrote the book Muscle Car Confidential. Yes, I know. Uh, can I get a shout out to my niece, Analea? That's a pretty name. How you doing, Analea? What's going on, Street Ride? Stay safe. Where's the sport in that, man? I know Steve Magenti. We've talked a couple of times, but I don't know him personally. Chris Moss, hey Uncle Tony, if I meet you off exit 80 gas station, will you sell me 5 shirts? Can be there in 20 minutes. Um, what sizes do you need, Chris? What's the worst oil brand in my experience? Crisco. Hey Tony, what's your most hated car brand? I don't really have a hated one, to tell you the truth. Do I consider my 73 Roadrunner a light or heavy car? I weighed it, and she's 3,550 pounds. So I'd say that's midweight. Have I ever built anything other than a Fox body out of the 80s era? Uh, my own personal cars, no. But I mean, I've worked on all sorts of things from the 80s. For other people. Uncle Tony, I just had a hard time wiring in the ballast. I don't know why you have a hard time wiring that in. Just stick it between the. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Go to mymopar.com and throw in mymopar.com has got all of the wiring schematics from cars from that era. So just put in your car and just go right to the ballast resistor part of the schematic, and you'll see how it all runs. Can a Diplomat be made to run fast? Yes, of course. Was I ever into the 2.2 turbo cars? I hands on, no. Uh, have I ever raced at BIR at Brainerd? No, I have not. What size header collectors do I recommend for a cammed 318? No more than a 3 inch. I'm a beast. First Hemi you ever saw, what is your memory? I remember that one. It was in Yakarino's. It was a junkyard on Staten Island, and they had a 53 Chrysler Imperial there, with a 331, and it was parked next to it was parked next to an ice cream truck, a white ice cream truck. That was how you could find it, because you could look across the yard. This was a junkyard in the 70s, right, on Staten Island. You could look across the yard. You could always spot the top of the ice cream truck. So every Saturday morning, I would take the bus out to Yakarino's, because that was the place to be. It was a teenage kid, 13, 14 years old, car freak. I had to be among the junk cars, and I would spend the whole day. And sometimes it would be me and friends. We'd spend the whole day just bouncing around the junkyard. But we always stopped at the Hemi, and just cause it was a Hemi, right? But that was the first one I ever saw in the flesh. Good humor truck. Yeah, I think it was a good humor truck, actually. You love the thumbnail of me holding the chicken. Would I ever consider showing up to the Duluth, Minnesota street legal drags with Bottle Rocket? They're a good time, bro. My biggest problem is travel, and the biggest problem with travel is I have 4 dogs, 9 chickens, a fucking cat, which I really don't like, but I tolerate. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and nobody to watch all of this stuff. So for us to get away for even a day is very, very, very difficult right now. How much voltage should you apply to a standard coil in a 60s car? Battery voltage with a ballast resistor or a resistor wire. Whatever do a drag race outside of the U.S., would you do some racing in Europe? I actually had the opportunity when I was about 21, 22 years old. I had the opportunity to go to, it was maybe a little older, it was about 25. I had the opportunity to go to Australia and run a funny car with Harlan Thompson. And it was actually Barry Petard from the Mupp Brothers that was going to set me up with that deal. But just when it happened, I think we got pregnant. Kathy got pregnant with our first kid, and that was the end of that. First pro street car: Gap and Roush Mustang or Steve Lisk Challenger? Gap and Roush Mustang. Gap and Roush ran pro stock. Oh, Joe Regalero's car, the Mustang, sudden death. I think Steve Lisk's Challenger was around first, and that Mustang that Gap and Roush built for the sudden death car, that was built to compete with Lisk. And those weren't pro street cars; those were real race cars. I have a lingering question. That red Duster you looked over for a friend. If someone didn't care about authenticity, would you still have walked away or maybe just talked them down? I offered him $8,000 for the car, the way it's at, which was more than generous. Given the fact that the car was pieced together, it didn't have a legit title, and it needed a lot of metalwork underneath. And what was done there was done shoddily. You know what I'm saying? And I offered him much more than the car was worth. But it wasn't a matter of originality. It was a matter of the title that he had did not match the unibody of the car. The tag that was on there did not match the rest of the car. Storm Frumplia. Uncle Tony, a long-time watcher here. Have you ever considered a podcast? We did. We started, this whole thing started as a podcast, and we couldn't get any listeners for it. It went nowhere. So we stopped, and we started doing YouTube videos, and that took off. I was just on a podcast last week. The Fuel. It's called Fuel, and it's Dennis Pitzenberger's show. What's the temp out there? It's about 60 degrees right now, 58, 60 degrees. Cat, you got tobacco? How do you know what type of ballast resistor to use? Get the stock ballast resistor. I don't have any. Oh, there's some up there. Yes, apparently it beat the Silver Bullet 2 out of 3. You mean the Mustang? By the time that car had evolved, right, the Silver Bullet days were over. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. Ever use a worm gear style limited slip? Like now, I thank you, baby. I weld spider gears. You know what I mean? That's it. If I happen to have a sure grip of something, if one falls in my lap, I throw it in the fucking car. But for the most part, I just on my daily drivers, I don't worry about it because I don't hot rod my daily drivers. So open rear is fine. I actually prefer an open rear to take less horsepower to turn. But for the most part, I just weld up spider gears, throw it together, and call it a day. Moped man, you like the exploding laundry room? Get a fire going. Am I a charcoal or propane guy? I'm a charcoal guy, but lately we've been cooking with propane just because I don't have the time to like nurse a fire right now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm definitely a charcoal guy. Ribeye? No, bro. I went and bought a bunch of beef tenderloins, filet mignon. Yeah. Is it worth switching to 456 gears from a 355 in a street car? That's way too broad a question to kind of answer like that. Too many different variables. ACC, you got work tomorrow. Good night, brother man. Thank you for joining us. And ACC Garage, he's got a good channel. You guys should check him out. Let's see if you can get UT hungry. It doesn't take much, man. I'm always hungry. I have a problem. What's my perfect car combo year model? I don't have one. It changes constantly, so I don't have one. Depends what kind of mood I'm in. Chocolate. You're trying to get me fucking hungry, right? Mr. Classic, the BBC here in the UK wants to tax our broadband since the government wants to decriminalize the TV license. What the hell? Bro, you've always got a fucking thing going on there. I mean, the UK, you got some crazy shit going on there, man. You always have. I don't know why you guys don't just get up and fucking rebel. Because we don't get up and rebel either, for that matter. Right? So let's forget about rebellions. $390 FE free power upgrades. Nothing I can think of off the top of my head that doesn't apply to all other engines. When we do those free power videos, we use Mopars as examples, but I try to make everything as applicable across the board, so they work with Ford, Chevys, Pontiacs, Oldsmobiles, imports, anything that you happen to have. UTG, what's my take on the Chevy 350? That's the standard American V8. I talk with Kathy. Oh, did you come to spend time with our people?
Not right now. I'm in the middle of doing something, figuring something out.
That's more important.
Well, kind of a little bit. It's a little bit important what I'm doing right now.
These guys are trying to get me hungry.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You just ate. I just fed you.
Slow cooked beef brisket.
I made you chicken.
Tang. I know.
I fed him. He's not hungry.
Was the 71 Super B the only factory Hemi you owned? No, I had a 66 Satellite also. Ever mess with modern Hemis? No, I do not. Any tips on head porting? Don't grind through the water jackets. What's the fastest car that your buddies had back in the day? Fast. Fast. Um, Tang and Swiss rolls. Have I ever met Smokey Yunick? No, I have not. I did not. What do I think is the best Crossram Mopar? I mean, that probably the '68 Hemi A bodies. If they were A990 car, the magnesium Crossram was pretty nice. Uncle Tony, ever worked on a Mel engine? Yes, I did. Yes, I have. What is the legend of Tennessee Wildman, and are you involved? I know, but I'm gonna have to look that up. I'll have to Google that when we get off here. In France, we have too much gas tax. Yellow vest. See, I know about the yellow vest movement, but I know something of it. Uh, but we don't get good information about that stuff here in this country. Our media is completely fucking jacked. So I know things happening all over the world. I know that yellow vest thing was fucking huge, but we didn't get any coverage of it over here. Tony, I have air shocks in the rear. What should the load difference between the left between the rear left and right tires for a straight launch? Generally speaking, if you've got the car, sitting level, right, put enough air on the right side to raise it 2 inches. And if it's a Mopar you're dealing with, right, after you've gotten the up those 2 inches, go to the driver's side torsion bar and give it like 1 or 2 full turns up to tighten it, and you'll really get the fucking balance of the car straight. What's going on, Hunter Thompson? Tony, paint the bottle rocket yellow and make it a taxi Uber. I'm gonna leave that car just the way it is. She's perfect. I love that car. Definition of Mopar? Not a cheesecake. UTG, possible causes of a broken crankshaft, usually detonation. You know, my name. I'm hearing my neighbor right on the other side of the fence. They just moved in and they have no idea, like they live next to a YouTube guy. So they're hearing like this one-sided conversation. I'm gonna have to go tell them what I do. Uh, did I race at the US 30 drag strip in Gary? No, I did not. Zero, you leaving? Zero, let me know if you need anything with that dart. I'll help you anywhere that I can. Don't tell them, make them think you're crazy. They already do. Have you ever played with changing the firing order? You mean swaps like that? No. I'm perfectly content with 1843657 too. Shout out for Michigan Muscle Car Garage. Well, there it is, Michigan Muscle Car Garage. Go check that channel out. Put a link to your channel. Well, I guess they just click on it, right? Will air shock trick work on a short wheelbase car like a Pinto? Yes, the dynamics are the same. Hey, Tony, would you have a drink beer next time I'll travel to the U.S.? I invite you. Well, I mean, let's see, man. If you're in Nashville, look me up. Have I ever done any racing on the West Coast? No. Any of your neighbors have cool cars or hot rods? My neighbor Nick and his girlfriend Paige, they have a '56 Pontiac. They have a '74 Nova, and he's got a '67 Barracuda over at my shop. How long have I smoked for? Since time I'm 11. Why do some engine builders drill holes from the top of the piston into the first ring groove? It's so that the combustion pressure gets behind the ring and pushes it out. The rings are designed so that combustion so the initial pressure from combustion gets behind the rings and the ring lands and pushes them out to the cylinder wall, and that helps it seal. And if you ever take an engine apart and you see that ridge that's around the front, that's what that's from. That's from the pressure from when the spark plug lights the mixture. Those rings get shoved out into the wall. Well, when they drill the holes in the top of the piston, what they're doing is they're giving that combustion pressure a straighter, more direct shot at the back of the ring to push it out even harder. That's why they do that. Best perk of working for an automotive magazine? What was the best perk? Getting the use of the track all to myself for like a whole day. Anytime we really wanted it. That was awesome. We'd show up at Englishtown on like a Monday morning, Tuesday morning, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and literally just make runs all day long. That was the best perk of Kurt, gas porting. Love you too, UFO. No fucking yawning, but I'm tired. Uncle Kathy, you're gonna cruise tomorrow night? If I can get her to get out of the house, sure. Good night, Ron. What's my definition of pro street? I don't really have one. It's not the kind of thing that I involve my mind in. You know what I mean? It's just a thing. Uncle Tony only found a few weeks ago that it's possible to check the condition of coolant and brake fluid by using a multimeter. Have you got? No, I got to look into that. That seems interesting. Street legal pro stock cars, pro street. No, no, no. Maybe in image, okay, but in pro street cars, I mean, you want to watch really silly things try to get down a fucking drag strip. Watch somebody with a pro street car. Panama has a nice ass. Yeah, she does. She's got nice hips too. I like gassers. Everybody likes gassers. Is there any advantage of using a gear drive for a streetcar? No, it's actually a disadvantage because it transfers all of the harmonics from the crankshaft directly to the snout of the cam. So things are more likely to fatigue quicker with a gear drive than they would with a chain. You ever going to get into the Buicks like you promised? When I come across a Buick to do something with, I will absolutely do it. I love Buicks. UFOs might be real, however, if I so want to feel, yeah, UFOs are real. It's the Air Force that's a farce. That was actually on a funny car. That was lettered on a funny car, and like the Tiganelli brothers, they ran out of Detroit in like the late '60s, the early '70s, and on the back of the car was called the UFO, and on the back of the car it said UFOs are real, the Air Force is a farce. You saw a GNX last year, only $110,000. Okay, if you ever get to a GNX, right? I told this story before on this. If if you ever come across a GNX, in the glove compartment they put a book, right? There was a special commemorative book, and in the book there's a quote from me in there. So I'm part of the history of every GNX. How about letting Auntie Kathy have a rip a bottle rocket and you film her if she wants to? Is there any specific reason why gases look the way they do? Yes, there is. Do you really want to know? Because it's a little involved explanation. Um, Ethan, honestly, I don't remember what it was. This is over 30 years ago. I haven't seen it since. But if you look in the book, you'll see where they have all the different writers and things that they said about the car, and whatever it is that I said about the car that they plucked out of the magazine, that's in there. Okay,